Today, Nigeria marks Democracy Day, 18 unfettered years of civilian rule. How far have we come as a nation? Is there really anything to share? We analyze our democratic journey as a nation tonight. And as President Muhammadu Buhari is away in London on the second anniversary of his inauguration in office, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo speaks to Nigerians in what could be described as a speech pregnant of hopes. That's our focus on the program. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. This is a special edition of your weekly show, Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Seun Okinbaloye in Lagos. In the next hour or so, we will be breaking it down for you. The show is usually a 30-minute show, but because of the Democracy Day, we will be stretching it for another half hour. Welcome on board, everyone. Happy Democracy Day, if I should say, everyone. Just like yesterday, isn't it, when General Abdulsalami Abubakar handed power to a former military head of state who emerged as a democratically elected president in 1999, Olusegun Obasanjo. Today, we mark 18 unbroken civilian rule. This will be the first time in Nigeria's history that a sitting president will be absent on a day as this. President Muhammadu Buhari is away on a medical vacation in London, and we wish him quick recovery. Today, the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, addressed the nation in what could be described as a speech laden with loads and loads of expectations and words filled with hopes for Nigerians to keep believing in the ability and the will of government to deliver on its campaign promises and the party's manifesto. Take a listen to a portion of that address, which we woke up to this morning.
Let me first express just how concerned we have been since this administration took office about the impact of the economic recession on our citizens. Through no fault of theirs, some companies shut down their operation. Others downsized, people lost jobs, and had to endure rising food prices. In some states, civil servants worked months on end without the guarantee of a salary, even as rents and school fees and other expenses continue to show up like clockwork. We have been extremely mindful of the many sacrifices that you've had to make over the last few years. And for this reason, this administration's work on the economic front has been targeted at a combination of short-term interventions to cushion the pain, as well as medium to long-term efforts aimed at rebuilding an economy that is no longer helplessly dependent on the price of crude oil. Those short-term interventions include putting together a series of bailout packages for our state governments to enable them bridge their salary shortfalls, an issue that the President has consistently expressed his concerns about. We also began the hard work of laying out a framework for our social intervention program, the most ambitious in the history of the country. One of the first tasks of the Cabinet and Economic Management team was to put together a strategic implementation plan for the 2016 budget, targeting initiatives that would create speedy yet lasting impact on the lives of Nigerians.
Acting President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. We woke up to that message this Monday morning, and to those messages, words of appraisal of the activities of government and more promises by the government to Nigerians. The opposition party, however, a faction of it though, the caretaker committee of the PDP led by Senator Herman McCarthy, the party says there is nothing to celebrate today as Nigeria marks Democracy Day. The spokesperson of the PDP Caretaker Committee, Mr. Dayo Adeyeye, in a statement criticized the All Progressives Congress-led government for what it described as suppression of the opposition in a democracy. He says his party bequeathed to Nigeria. Mr. Adeyeye adds that the Buhari government is full of despondency, ambiguity, repression and depression. It said, and I quote now, "We would have simply wished Nigerians happy celebrations, but there is nothing to celebrate from this APC government, which represents confusion in its entirety." End of quote. The PDP Caretaker Committee also criticized the anti-corruption war of the Buhari government, saying the efforts have resulted in nothing but mere noise. On the issue of economy, the PDP faction did say that Nigerians, and I quote now, have never been this hungry in their entire lives, adding that the federal government under the PDP created 500,000 jobs per annum, while more than 4.5 million people have lost their jobs under the current administration. That's according to Mr. Adeyeye in the PDP statement earlier today. Well, let's get perspectives on this matter now. Within the next 1 hour or so, we shall be making sense of the issues today, assessing the Buhari government 2 years in office, and today's Democracy Day as we commemorate such a day. Joining me is a former commissioner in Lagos, Mr. Kayode Okwefa. Many thanks for coming on the program. And with him is in Lagos studio here is a right activist, a Nigerian youth activist actually, Moremi Ojudu. And in our Abuja studio is the former national chairman of Young Democratic Party, Mr. Ezekiel Inya Etok, and a senior lawyer in Nigeria, Chief Joshua Alobo. Welcome on the program, everyone. Let's get started with the conversation. Let me begin with you, Mr. Kayode Okwefa. With what we heard this morning, first time we will see a president absent. Thankful we have an acting president. Looks so much that there is no much of a vacuum in the government. But the message that we saw this morning, the body language of that man, the acting president, how does it make anyone feel on a day as this?
Okay, let me start by saying today, 29th of May, the Democracy Day, so-called, means a lot to people of my own generation. And there is also on record that today we lost Professor Abubakar Momo, who ordinarily will rank among the heroes of today. And I want to pray that God will grant his family the fortitude to bear his loss. Now, come to this issue of the Vice President's speech and the significance. There is a Vice President given that. You know what it tells us? That means our democracy is growing. That means we are beginning to perfect the actual tenets of democracy. That means for the first time in the history of this country, under a democratic rule, we have a government that believes in the operation of the Constitution, where a sitting president will go on vacation leave of more than 5 days, of medical whatever, and hand over to the vice president. I doubt if it had ever happened before this dispensation. I also doubt if we've had any record of any governor in the past who has done something similar, handing over to their deputy. The fear was there. So what you have seen, and what you see also for a vice president to confidently speak to Nigerians, and for Nigerians to patiently support a president who is on medical leave, vacation, or whatever, and having a deputy deputizing and acting as president, doing a good job, tells you that Nigerians are beginning to understand that the government of the people for the people and by the people, that is by Nigerians, has come to stay. For me, it's a positive omen. And for what you have, it's irrespective of who the vice president or acting president will have been. It's irrespective of who the president or President Muhammadu Buhari will have been. What is happening is what should happen under a normal participatory democracy dispensation.
Okay.